Welcome to Wellness Radio with Dr. Jeanette Gallagher as your host. Her show discusses topics of health, wellness, and spirituality, and is about discovering your place in this great universe, from your cells to the cosmos. Along with her guests, in casual conversation, she strives to ask the difficult questions that may be holding you back from a vibrant life, and shares new ideas that may inspire you to make a change in your life that you only can see in your dreams. And now, here is Dr. Jeanette Gallagher.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Radio. This is Dr. Jeanette Gallagher, and it's a pleasure to have you with us here this evening. Tonight, we are going to be talking about our heart. What is it all about? How does it work? How does it support us? How does it beat and give us the essence of our life? Truly, many people say, my heart's doing fine, my doctor said so. My heart's doing fine, I can still feel and love. My heart's doing fine because I can still breathe today. Today we're going to be taking you on a much deeper journey. What is the heart about? How does it beat? How does it maneuver? How does it gain light? How does it have a frequency? Where does it go? What are all of its jobs, as we would say, to be able to keep you in this existence? It truly is about being able to say, what is the journey to your heart? What is your heart sharing? And how can you listen to all the whispers that it is saying? Many times people will say, I know what my heart is. It's broken. It's good. It's got joy. I'm good. I know what it's all about. Perhaps what we are posing today is being able to say, how can we feel into it to be able to go along the journey, to maybe release, to guide, to heal, or maybe just to nourish this essence of our soul. Today my guest is Cissi Williams. Her book is Your Heart Knows How to Heal You, The Sacred Medicine of the Four Chambers of the Heart. Cissi, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So glad to have you, I think, because so many times people will say, I know about the heart, I got it, I'm good to go. Don't you think?
Yes, I'm sure that happens a lot of the time. I was the same. And I think we often take our bodies for granted and our heart for granted, and we don't really stop and listen until it gets our attention.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you hit the wall, so to speak, with the diagnosis, or you end up and you have heart palpitations, or maybe anxiety is the gateway to be able to say, what is the flutter inside of me? Perhaps it is something saying, I am trying to, it's almost like, when you go to somebody's house and you knock and they don't hear you, and you kind of shake the door or you turn the handle. It's those kinds of things, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we all have communication with our heart, whether we are aware of it or not. And I think our heart will send us messages. I think it is our deeper wisdom, just like our body. Every aspect of our body, every part of our body holds a deeper wisdom that is a portal into an awakening, a deeper message from our soul for us to be able to come into alignment with our soul's path for us, our soul's vision, our soul's dream for our life. But often we get so caught up in our heads. We're just busy, focusing on what needs to be done, our goals, what we want to achieve, and then we disconnect from our bodies. And then our bodies may need to send us various signals, symptoms, challenges in order to get our attention. And that is certainly what happened for me. I've been on a path for a long, long time of health and well-being, being an osteopath for a long time and a naturopath and then an NLP trainer and then working with shamanic energy medicine. So I started on this path in 92, felt I was very much in tune with my body, which I was and I am. And then when I had a heart attack on a full moon in November in 2019, that's when it brought me into a much, much deeper connection with my body and with the feminine especially. And it actually guided me on a journey of healing my relationship with the feminine, of both the darkness and the light. And it was as if my heart became my teacher. So the journey my heart took me on was actually never about healing my heart. Many get quite surprised by that. I think they might have assumed that because I had a heart attack, my intention was to heal my heart, but it actually wasn't. It was to let my heart heal me, which is why the book is called Your Heart Knows How to Heal You. Because if I would have gone on the journey with an agenda that I was going to heal my heart, then the mind would have still been involved. And instead, I just surrendered to the journey and let my heart show me what it was it wanted me to witness, what it was in my deeper landscape, in my psyche, in my soul, that was calling for my attention. And for me, that was the deep, deep wounds held in the feminine that I needed to witness and become the portal of healing that for me. And for my ancestors, and for my daughters.
Right. You know, I had just written, I always believe that everything comes to divine timing. So I had posted just today, I said, there's a trend right now about seeking healing. From what? Why? Is it a quest to something you're lacking? Or perhaps something you strife or pain? And what is the it you identify as the problem? And then I wrote, I thought, might this imply we are broken and needs to be fixed? What if healing was a process of breathing? Might we all be perfect healing in all times? And I think that's very timely because that's so true. They want to find the healing. They come to me also as a naturopathic doctor and they say, I have to be fixed. This is what is wrong and you need to fix it. And they give up their power to us and they ask us to fix something in them. When it's sort of like, did you bring your car here because you can't get to work or you can't go out to go partying for the day, but you want it done today because you got something you got to do today, you know? It's sort of that kind of idea. In other words, is our body, the essence, separate from us? And I think that's where the first conversation has to start. Are we separated so distinctly? And inside, I almost see it as two glass silos. People put themselves in one and their body in another one. You know what I mean? It's like it's very distinct and they divvy out the power, so to speak. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I used to experience that a lot before when I was mainly working as an osteopath. And we had like patients coming in and they kind of just want you to fix their back or their neck or just so the pain will go away without actually taking responsibility for what is it that my body is trying to tell me. And for me, my body and my heart now especially is always about guiding me on a deeper journey of awakening. So it is as if it's my teacher, my shamanic teacher, taking me on to an even deeper level than I had been before of something I'm now meant to witness and transform. So I connect with the medicine that heals it and then be able to bring that medicine through me and share it. So that is what my body is for me. It's like a portal of awakening, a doorway into a deeper wisdom. And I feel that when we just focus solely on the symptoms and wanting them to be fixed, to go away, we miss that essence. We miss that, no, this is a sacred relationship. The soul, I feel, is speaking through our bodies. It's like the body and the soul are always communicating, whilst the mind can often go off and do its own thing. And it's like it's meant to be, I feel, actually in service to our soul rather than running the show.
But I think also, too, it's really a factor of social media these days. Everybody thinks that they have to be fixed. And, you know, they see younger people. You know, I'll be 70, and you turn around and you look at it, and people say, oh, but those 70-year-olds, they're out there doing this, that, and the other. Why can't you? So there's a whole lot of comparison. There's a whole lot of judgment going on in the world. And there's a whole lot of, what do I have to do to get there?
Yeah, and there's also a lot of judgment if you do get something, if you do get ill. And it's like the mind then, both in yourself, can go, oh, I must have done something wrong. I must have thought the wrong thoughts, and that's why this has happened to me. And also, I had this experience myself now with my heart, that I had some clients that went, well, I can't have sessions from you then. If you got a heart attack, then obviously you are not living your truth. And I'm like, actually, I'm absolutely living my truth because I'm letting my heart teach me. So I think we have to let go of this this idea that if we just think right, if we just focus on the right things, then we will always be well, because that is like the mind's fantasy that I can still control and fix everything in life. And the body is a great teacher, because it will get old. It will get an illness. It will take us on to these portals that are challenges, so we can awaken this deeper truth within us that, in our soul, we are eternal. And there is so much more wisdom for us to access when we allow ourselves that journey of descent into the mystical landscape of our soul. And our body is the doorway into that.
It's so interesting, because I had gone to a function recently, and someone said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing awesome." But yet I was walking very gingerly, because my back has a lot of twists and turns. And sometimes it just, as it twists and turns, it's kind of like in a little bit of soup and kind of locked up sometimes, and sometimes it goes well. However, they looked at me and they said, "You don't look like you're doing just fine. What's the problem?" And I'm going, "I am fine." They couldn't understand that what I had said is that I was doing well in my own essence. Just as you shared, when you have a heart attack, you're still inside, something is okay with you, because that's the eternal part of you that's speaking.
Absolutely.
And we're not talking about the immediate phase of where my density, my material, my biological essence, my chemistry, or my bones might be. They too may be on their own journey. And to understand that we are still, a lot of times people say, but then, it's not right. I too get that all the time. You're a naturopath. Why can't you fix yourself? And I'm going, I'm fine. You know what I mean? And we get this quandary. I think, a lot of times people are very judgmental. You will see people say, "Oh, I don't go to that cardiologist anymore. He had a heart attack. He mustn't know how to fix hearts."
Yeah, exactly. Instead of accepting and embracing that we will all experience illnesses and heartache and challenges in life, and that's got, we can't. I do feel actually the whole self-help movement a few decades ago was obviously, inspiring, and I got a lot of benefit from that, but it also had a catch where it really fed into the ego's insane idea that I can control everything if I just think right. And I feel that our journey in life is very much a journey of kind of letting the ego structure crumble so that we instead can surrender to this deeper presence where we recognize, no, I'm not in charge. Something much deeper within me is. How would it be if I were to receive her guidance instead, her wisdom instead? And actually I would just want to mention something about what you said. I remember many, many years ago, I was trekking in Nepal. I was young. I was really fit. I was 21. I just actually won a Kung Fu Swedish championship. So I was really, really strong. And I was doing the Annapurna trek in Nepal. And I remember trekking with my friend. We were both young and fit. And we were like, oh, my God, this is so hard. And we would go trek up for like 8 hours in a day and being absolutely exhausted. And then when we got to the end of our trek on that day, we were trekking for 2 weeks. Inside this little lodge were two little old ladies. They were in their 70s. And as I saw them, I'm like, how did you get here? Did you fly? I mean, how did you get here? Because I knew how hard it'd been. And one of them, she had really bad knees. And I'm like, how? And she just said to me, you just choose to do it. And it's like you don't focus on the pain, you focus on your experience. And it was something in that really showed me how graceful they were. They still had porters that carried their luggage, but they still chose to still feel okay. And that takes so much strength, I would say spiritual strength, to be able to do that instead of getting stuck when we focus too much on our pain and our suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you did.
I think also, too, Cissi, it is about the journey, and your entire book is about how to be able to journey to the chambers of your heart, what guides you would have, how you can enlist in the story, and what you can find along the way to be able to open and bring some light into some areas of your being. And I think that's very important because many times people will say, how do I get there? And what we're really proposing is perhaps ask for a guide, stand at the door together, and see what opens for you. Sometimes people will say, but I have to go along that journey that way because that's what they said. In essence, what you're saying and sharing in your book is this is a way, it's possible to go along a journey. And then when you do it again for yourself, you do it your way. You find different things. You find different guides. You find other pathways. Isn't that the real sense?
Yeah, absolutely. The journey is always yours. So I feel it's very important that, for example, when I now guide others through shamanic journeys, obviously when I did them myself, they were, I was taken on them completely intuitively into the mystical landscape of my soul. And then when I then share those journeys with others, I'm very careful to not tell them too much what it is that they're going to experience, what their medicine is, because it's meant for them. You are meant to discover your own medicine, your own guides, what heals you, what transforms you. You witness your own wounds, what is there. And the journeys are just like a map, a terrain, but what you experience on that journey, in this map, is completely unique to you, and it will actually be a different experience every time you do the same journey, because you will journey in on a slightly different, energy that you want to look at. And I find that that's the magic with it, that it always amazes and surprises you every time you make these shamanic journeys.
You know what I also think, too, is so vitally important when you go along a shamanic journey is that you also understand that you're not taking your whatever and giving it to your guide and asking them to carry it for you.
Exactly.
You're not, you know what I mean? And because a lot of
it's not like you're coming again. You still, like we said before, when you were a naturopath and an osteopath, you're not giving your responsibility over to someone else.
Right.
You are allowing them to be there to support you, but you are the one going on the journey, just like these two little old ladies up in the pool.
Yep.
They still had to do the trek. They had guides, they had a porter, but they still had to do the trek. They had to put one foot in front of the other. And I feel that, as you say, that is absolutely key.
I think that's so vitally important, because when I give out, like, let's say if I offer or recommend an herb to somebody, they will say, what will it do for me? And you know what my answer is? I have absolutely no idea. Why don't you give it a try and see where it takes you? I find that all the time. I think that when we talk about your book again, the book Your Heart Knows How to Heal You, then you are also saying, well, okay, I'm going to go in there and it's going to tell me what to do. And then you're going, okay, is that, again, an outside force, an outside identity, or maybe some pills or shots or whatever it might be, or maybe I need to go do this, that, and the other, and then all of that outside stuff will fix me. You see, a lot of times people will wait for the answers, and then they go find all this outside resources to be able to do the job, when sometimes it's just an energetic job within yourself that is yourself, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel it's that inner presence that also can guide you to things outside of yourself that will help you. Like I share in the book, the first time I had a spiritual awakening, I was 24. I was in such a deep depression. I was suicidal. I was bulimic. And then I had this dream where I saw myself hanging dead from the ceiling in my room. And as I woke up, I knew I had to change. I had to change my thoughts. I could no longer keep blaming my dad and my ex-boyfriend and all of that. So I prayed. And then the very next day, I got this feeling I should go back home to Stockholm. And the very next day I was in Stockholm and I went past this bookshop. And it was an esoteric bookshop. I'd never been in it before. And as I went inside, 3 books seemed to land in my lap. And it was The Power is Within You by Louise Hay, Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain, and Love is the Answer by Gerald Dampowski. This was back in 92, so these are old classics. And as I started to read these books, the depression left. I felt this darkness just left, and I was just immersed in light. So these books gave me the tools to change my thinking, to change my thoughts as I did the practice in them. So it's like my inner being, my inner presence. I first tuned within, I prayed, I asked for help, I was willing to change. And then it guided me to the tools I needed at that moment. And I feel that is also really important, that we realize and we trust that within us is this inner wisdom that knows how to heal us, just like the body knows how to heal itself. It's incredible. It has all the resources. And we also have access to that wisdom that knows how to heal us and our lives if we tune into it. And then it will draw us to books, people, insights, something we read that gives us that gateway initially for how we can begin this journey. So, yeah.
I always liken it to, when you were sharing just now, I had this vision that there was an angel standing next to a person, and kind of like the angel just, like, you know how you just breathe out and you breathe out glitter? That's what I always call it. You breathe out a little bit of glitter. And when you do that, it kind of clears the vision that's being presented. That's how I think of guides. They kind of clear up the vision a little bit so you're able to see. Because sometimes you can't see through all of that, and you do need a little help, just as you shared about tools to be able to clear the muck, so to speak, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And to recognize that they are just tools. It's still your deeper presence that guides you, and as you apply these tools, it's still this inner presence that helps you to heal, because the healing happens inside.
Right. Also, too, Cissi, you shared about your book. There's many chambers of the heart, the 4. And in those 4 chambers, you go through transformation and rebirth and releasing. And that's all very vitally important, to be able to progress through each chamber of the heart, to be able to see what is there, what is it showing you, what do you feel, and how these are explored by stories within your own life, perhaps within your own being, or perhaps that you see in the world, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's different each time you do a journey. So the journey that I shared now with the 4 chambers was a journey that I was guided to take, actually the day after I got back from the hospital. And I did a shamanic journey into my heart, and it guided me to follow the flow of the blood. And as I followed the flow of the blood, the way it flows through the chambers, the first chamber I went to, as I flowed in there, I recognized that this is very similar, because this is where the deoxygenated blood comes into the heart. And I could sense that this was like a representation of that which is poor in spirit, because it's poor in oxygen, so it's poor in inspiration, which is what we then have in the season of autumn, when we start to look at what is it I'm meant to let go of, what am I meant to shed. And then I continued the flow into the second chamber of the heart, and here I was met by the Dark Mothers, which is that beautiful medicine of transforming that which we are meant to let go of. It's like the portal of death, life, and rebirth in a way. And again, this is what we have in the seasons of early winter, which is that it seems to be very dark, and as if nothing is happening, but a deep transformation is taking place underneath. And then when I followed the flow of the blood, I went up into the lungs, and it was like a cosmic angel that was breathing in inspiration, breathing in new light, new dreams, new visions, all that beautiful light-filled essence that gives us that spirit. And then I realized, my goodness, this is exactly what happens at the winter solstice, which is when the light is born in the middle of the darkness. And then I continued the flow of the blood back into the third chamber, and this was like the medicine of spring, where in order to receive all these dreams and visions and the light from the divine source, the lungs, the cosmic angel, I had to be willing to bring it back into the heart and then also receive the light from the light mothers, just like in spring, so that these new dreams could grow. And this is actually where I had a problem with my heart. I was less willing to receive the light. And then, and as you receive the light, the magic of life can be ignited, just like it is in nature in spring. And then I moved into the fourth chamber of the heart, and I recognized that this chamber is the chamber of rebirth, which is just what happens in early summer when nature moves through her own rebirth, so that all these dreams and visions could grow and be born and then shared with the world, just like the heart shares the oxygen-rich blood with the body, and the body is a representation of the world. So when we move through this kind of wheel of shedding and letting go, starting our healing journey into the darkness, moving through this deep transformation, transforming wounds into wisdom, then receiving the light of something new, so the light of new insights, new healing, new medicines, new visions, something that helps us be reborn with something new. And we then move through into allowing that to grow within us. It's like igniting the magic of life within us, and then allowing it to grow and grow by receiving the light so it can later be born into our world. That journey we do all the time in life. We do it from the beginning of when we are born and all the way through, both as a longer journey, if you look at it from being like a maiden to a mother to the queen to the crone, if we're not looking at it from the goddess perspective, but also just in our daily lives, in any situation you have in life, you will eventually stumble upon a problem, and then you need to let something go, and you begin the healing process of that, and it will move through this natural spiritual journey that guides you into the birthing of something new, of a deeper wisdom, a deeper consciousness. That, I think, is amazing that our bodies are showing us that this is actually present in our bodies every heartbeat, every breath.
Yes, I think it's also too reflected in our own world around us. You know, I work with patients at end of life and the sunset of their years. It is so vital. People will hold on to things for so long inside their being. And I'll say, can we just start cleaning out your house? And they're going, what does that have to do with helping me? I said, if you could start cleaning out your house, perhaps we will see. You know, and as they start letting go of some of the tears or things they've held on to or some of the old memories, that is just a gateway. It's like every little thing we breathe and do has a purpose in our world. I think we just don't, perhaps maybe we have not recognized that in the past, and that's really what we're sharing today, is that these things are important. And they are progressing and eliciting movement. Sometimes people will say, I'm so stuck. And I'll say, okay, you're sitting in this chair today. Where were you yesterday at this exact time? Well, I was at the grocery store. I said, then you're not stuck. Mm-hmm. And I think our words is what creates that perception. And we hold on to that so dearly. And it really isn't true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like you're sharing, the importance of actually also then clearing out, letting go. Mm-hmm. It's like if we now have the metaphor of the house, as you clear out the clutter in your house, as you get rid of that which you no longer need, you can then open the windows, you let the light in, and you create space for something new to be formed and expressed there. And that's exactly the same with our emotions, with our thoughts, with the structures of our lives. So when we hold on too much, then we eventually, and likewise, if we also then plant seeds of something new, then nothing will grow. You need to go through that whole cycle that nature does show us how she does that. She doesn't hold on to anything. She allows it to move through this natural cycle of releasing and letting go, transforming, and then igniting new life. So it can just spiral, expand, grow and blossom.
It's funny you had just said that, Cissi, because this morning I had a delivery person that came to my home, and he came inside and we were talking. He has a citrus tree, and he was telling me about it. He says, I'm going to bring you one of the little lemons off of it. And, when we were talking, and he looked outside and he said, oh, is that a sword plant? And I said, yes. He said, my mother-in-law's been looking for one for ages. I said, honey, go outside. Do you like it? He says, it is awesome. And I said to him, I got it as just one plant, and now there's like 6 of them in that planter, and it really needs to be split up because it's just getting too tight. It's really been blossoming, and it's healthy. I said, you know what? I'd like to gift it to you so you can take it home, split it all up in different pots, and give it to your mother-in-law for Mother's Day. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And he was so excited. Because what I did was I actually nurtured it to fruition to be able to gift it to someone else. And it's like the mother-child idea. We are gifting and giving, don't you think?
Absolutely. And also that whole, if we look at the wisdom in that in order for us to kind of develop our gifts that we share, the blossoms that we share, the fruits that we share from our own spiritual journey, it needs quite many cycles of the different seasons in order for that to come to that stage where we then can share it, and then we are meant to share it. So it's like allowing it to take time as well. And I feel that is also really important because so many are like, okay, so I want to heal now, and I want to discover all my soul gifts, and I want to do it in 7 days. I can go out there and just share it with other people. And, of course, that's the mind's idea, was what you are sharing is that, no, it took time, and it was growing, and now it's time to share it because that's how it keeps on expanding.
And I think that's so vitally important, is about not holding on to the gifts that you have, not holding on to the sharing or the stories or the process that you've gone through. Share the stories. Share the moment in time. How did you get here? What did you read? What did you take? How did you feel? And also share the difficult times, because the difficult times might be the exact trigger that someone else says, ooh, I can feel into that pattern because that's where I am. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it makes us also realize that we have all encountered different challenges and crises in our lives, and it is the journey through them that helps others also feel, wow, I can do that too.
Yes. Also, in closing, I want to talk a little bit, Cissi, about the bloodstream. Our blood vessels. And I think it's so interesting. I remember just before Hurricane Katrina here, and when it was like really so close here, and I had a blood clot in my leg, and it was to hold me. It was to hold me back on purpose to experience the storm. It was so that I would not evacuate and I would stay here. Oh,
wow.
And I had gone into the emergency room, and I was sitting there waiting for the ultrasound. And the lady says, well, I don't see it right now. I said, of course, didn't you feel it? It just moved. Because I could feel it, I know when they move. And she says, oh, no, that's impossible, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of let it go. And I went home, and we kind of went through the storm, and I said, today's not the day to die. Today is the day to transform, the day to be able to just experience. And I think sometimes when we have a medical crisis, it's truly about experiencing it for what it is. Sometimes people in the know, or the people that are, say, I'm this, that, or the other, with other labels, they kind of jump the process and don't feel the experience for the moment. They say, oh, well, this is what this is. I know what that is, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And perhaps say, I'm having a heart attack. Oh, my gosh, this is just and experience it. I'm having a blood clot in my leg. Well, maybe I will die or have a stroke, whatever. But feel the humanness of our moment in time. And it's in reflection that we can find the gifts and the wisdom. Perhaps?
Absolutely. Because if you are able to be in the moment of it, then without a story, that's when you also open the door to that deeper wisdom. Because the moment we go into story, the mind is engaged, and that will then stop us from actually hearing and tuning into that deeper soul wisdom that comes through our body, and that can tell us, you know, it's all going to be okay somehow. Not okay in that, yes, you're going to heal, but, you know, just allow yourself to, it's like you drop deeper into the experience, allowing it to teach you, just like you did. And how amazing that was, that your body was saving you. And it could be seen as something terrible, but you know, at that deeper level, it was really helping you. Yeah.
I think they all have their own guidance, and I think sometimes that we try to put words to it. I mean, I cannot wait for the day that we don't have to use human words anymore. You know, I mean, I have been saying, sometimes the words get us so stuck.
And your experience is so much deeper. So anytime, that's why you can't, at least for me, I can't share any of my deeper experiences until a long time has passed. I didn't share for anyone about my experience with my heart. Apart from my husband, I would come out of a shamanic journey and tell him, you will never believe what I experienced in this journey. But I didn't teach about it. I experienced this in 2019, and the whole of 2020, I was deep in journeying with my heart. And I only started to share it with some of my students, I think in 2022, because I wanted the experience to be so sacred within me that I allowed it to really inform and transmit the deeper wisdom before I started to put it into words. Because as you say, the moment you put it into words, you start to lock it into a structure, and that creates problems in its own right. So I totally get that.
You know, it's so interesting because when I think of it, at the time, it was to keep me here because this is the time of where my soul had been before, my soul fragments. And if I had left and not come back, the soul healing that I needed to have to do after, you know, decades after that wouldn't have happened. I would have again run from it. So I think sometimes we say, can we sit within this pain, the structure, and feel the pain that may have come from your other soul fragments in other eons, and really feel into those? That is an extraordinarily deep journey that very few have taken. But we also know that when we do that, it is so powerful in its own right. I can remember distinctly spending 3 years, 8 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, wailing all day long. But when the people in my house left, I would lock the door and just wail until 5 o'clock and then open the door again. Because I had so much deep eon stuff that needed to be released. But here's the difference, I think, Cissi, is that we think that it is, quote, ours. What we are doing is processing for the eons. It is not just our individual self saying, I must have done something wrong in my karmic blah, 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 blah. No, if you are in this deep process, you are processing for eons of the world, of the energy, of the cosmos, or whatever that may be. It has a much deeper meaning, whatever comes up for you, yes?
Yes, absolutely. And I know when I started my healing journey when I was that young, I thought, oh my God, I have so much to heal in myself. But I could not relate at all to the concept of healing, you know, ancestral lineages and things. I'm like, I have enough on my own plate. Thank you very much.
Right.
And of course, in the last, I don't know how long now, maybe the last 15 years longer, it's been all about going much, much, much deeper, because I was then ready to go deeper. And then when you start to tap into going to the deeper ancestral layers and even the collective layers, the pain there, the depth of that pain is absolutely excruciating. And at the same time, as we allow that transformation to be like the conduit of that, which is not an easy process. It really isn't. It sounds easy, but it really isn't when we're there. we then also start to tap into a much, much deeper, that's at least my experience, a much, much deeper wisdom. And I do feel also like an ancient source of feminine magic and power that I could never have accessed if I would have just been focusing on healing my own personal stuff. I could only access it once I allow myself to also become a conduit for healing that deeper layer of ancestral healing.
Well, in closing, I think also, too, the idea is that if we are truly the cosmos, the essence, the universe, the energy of the world, the source energy, all within us, why do we keep thinking it's just the us? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So whatever goes on inside of us, it's like, oh, am I doing something for whatever? If we just say whatever instead of you or it or they or them or this or that, that's the real wisdom. I mean, like I said in the beginning, you know, my back has all this torturous stuff going on, and I'm going, So I kind of gave that person an answer. I said, it's from, you know, that last profession that I did, you know, and it just has a lot of memories in it, and it's kind of locked up a little bit. But then I go even deeper, and I say, but that last profession I had when that was all twisted and tied was when I was doing my soul work. And I'll say, awesome. I'll take the answer to my soul work and not worry about this torturous back because it will work itself out. And I think also the idea is that many times people think that we have to be in perfect body, mind, and health and soul and spirit before we exit this world. I'm sure you've seen that in your practice. I have in mine. You know, you get them at the end and they're like, you have to hurry up and fix me, you know, at surgery or whatever. Or you turn around, I have to turn around and spew everything, line all my people up, I'm going to give them all their stuff back. Or I'm going to spew and give out all of my regrets and guilts and all this other stuff so I can fit through the door. And I'm going, but honey, it's all in a bag anyway. You can't take it through the door. Isn't that awesome? And with a click of a finger, they say, oh, I can't take it. I don't need it. And then all of a sudden, things change. Don't you think that's what we're talked about today? Yeah,
it is so many layers of wisdom in what you've just said. And I think our journey is very much a journey of also releasing all those old ideas and expectations of what the journey should be. And instead, when we just embrace what it is, that is such a freedom and liberation in that. Yeah.
So, honey, if your feet don't work really well, put on your high heels and sit down. It's going to be okay, right?
Exactly.
Bring that power back in. Stick some glitter on them. I live in New Orleans, so I mean we have high heels. We have high heels with glitter and sequins, and you know you could stick a butterfly on the back, and you're good to go. So,
wow.
Yeah, but it's all about being light of the world, and I think that's what we share today. Cissi, can you share with the listeners how to find out more information about your work?
So if you go to my website, CissiWilliams.com, then you will find there links for how you can actually also listen to a shamanic journey that takes you into the 4 chambers of your heart. It's the first shamanic journey in the book. The book contains 9 shamanic journeys, and they're all also recorded so that you can just be guided by my voice as you go on these journeys. But everyone can listen to this journey that is there. I also have quite a fair bit of shamanic journeys, guided meditations, prayers, inspirational talks, interviews on my podcast, Awaken Your Inner Wisdom, which is available wherever you find podcasts, really. So I would recommend that as a starting point.
Very good. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you with us here today, as I called to dance in the ethers, to be able to just share our thoughts and our wisdom, share our moments and our times. And I thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really lovely to connect with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. If you'd like more information about Cissi Williams, again, the book is Your Heart Knows How to Heal You, The Sacred Medicine of the 4 Chambers of the Heart. Please do click on the link on the bottom of today's show page to go directly to her website, and please take her up on the offer to be able to listen to the first shamanic journey. It is on the website. Go there, click on it, and just sit down and say, I have no clue. I don't know what it means. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what it's going to take me. I don't know, whatever. The answer is we are opening the door and saying, giving you a gift. We'll say, would you like to dance? Would you like to be able to engage? Would you like to be able to breathe into this? And that's the option of opportunity. So be able to take the opportunities that are presented in front of you today and say, you know what? I have no clue, but you know what? I've changed. I've shifted and I've breathed, and this is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Dr. Jeanette Gallagher, and until tomorrow, have a great day.
Today we discussed many life-changing concepts. Who do you turn to, and how do you know what is best when faced with a health crisis? Dr. Jeanette is a patient advocate. She listens to the patient, the doctors, and the family, clarifies the health issues and concerns, then helps the patient make the best choices going forward. If you would like help implementing change into your life and health, we can talk and see where you are stuck and how to improve the quality of your life. Check the link on the bottom of today's show page or visit drjeanettegallagher.com to schedule a phone appointment today.